Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks, where we are in the end game. 72 hours away from the winter meeting starting and what is supposed to be the loose deadline for Juan Soto signing a contract, whether that be with the Toronto Blue Jays or whether that be with the, who knows, we will have to wait and see.
The Rockies. Actually, it came out that Rockies are not going to get Juan Soto. That actually came out this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody took the time to report that.
Well, actually, I think someone emailed a representative in the Rockies organization, was like, hey, like, what are the chances we get them in purple pinstripes? And then they were like, yeah, he wants to be on the East Coast. So there you go.
okay. That would have been insane. Can you imagine if, like, we're doing this whole thing, it's Blue Jays, it's Mets, it's Blue Jays, Mets, and then
the Rockies. Yeah, exactly. That'd be surprising. But there's still some opportunities for the Blue Jays, an East Coast team, that can go get him, as we've got a lot of reports coming out. Everybody's talking about Juan Soto and the potential of what if he goes to the Toronto Blue Jays. We've got all those little snippets for y'all today in this podcast.
We're going to be discussing all of the latest Toronto Blue Jays news, and there is a lot of it. Quick shout out here to everybody in the chat. I see Ballcap Sports in there. What's up, dude? You got to be loving life right now, man. This is the time. The rumor mill is churning, and there is certainly a lot of stuff to discuss. Let's kick things off right now, talking about Juan Soto and everything like that. As we said yesterday, the deal is certainly imminent. Yeah. And whenever Jeff Passan comes out and says it, you know that it is 100% legit. So we can now confidently say that this should get done by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, guys, FYI, we canceled our entire weekend plans. We're going to be waiting, standing by, ready to go live, waiting for this to happen. It could happen, it could happen as early as Sunday, maybe even Saturday. Who knows? It all depends on if Juan Soto is comfortable with the offers that he's been given, right? Like, teams have offered him well over $600 million, and there's not much higher to go than that. I mean, there is a report actually from Jeff Passan saying, well, he might get up to $750, 15 years. That's if the negotiations really get down to the wire, assuming it's between the Toronto Blue Jays and another team, because they keep gassing up the price. But it could happen this weekend. It very well could.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Once you get to that 600 mark, and I was listening to these MLB Network guys talk about this, there isn't that much more that some of these teams can do, right?
Yep.
And I know that we get into these magical fairy tale numbers where, it could reach 700, 750, even go higher than that. But eventually you're going to start hurting your team. Eventually it's going to get to the point where, the average annual value is just so goddamn high for for what is one baseball player that, we're having a hard time fielding the rest of our roster, and we're always going to be over that, luxury tax and everything like that. So there will come a point where it just does not make sense anymore, even for the Steve Cohens of the world or the Edward Rogers of the world and everything like that. So now that we're already in the ballpark of that 600, 650, 700 range, there's not that much more to say.
No, there isn't, right? And that's why the deal is going to be happening soon. Now, I wanted to take a look at a couple, kind of snippets and quotes from some of these other guys. We've got Ken Rosenthal, Mark Feinsand, a lot of guys coming here giving their 2 cents about the Toronto Blue Jays. And now, shout out to Ben Turner, who grabs this clip. I actually really appreciate it when guys go online and grab snippets from these articles. It saves us a lot of time from having to go and read through it all, right? So shout out to Ben Turner here. This is a clip a little snippet from Ken Rosenthal's recent article on The Athletic. And first of all, we all know Ken Rosenthal is a big Blue Jays hater.
Dude, what is it with that guy?
I don't get it. He's just a hater. I used to like Ken Rosenthal. I love his bow ties. I love everything about him. And then now he's a hater.
No, that's the thing. Like, he's got style. He's got a vibe to him. It's like, okay, like you got your own specific image. Like, I want to like you.
I really want to like you.
But you don't like me.
No.
What is you know what I mean? It's like any time, like, he actually, like, this whole little, piece here about the Toronto Blue Jays starts off by him saying, for 6 months now, I found the Toronto Blue Jays baffling.
And listen, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
but you're
right. I get that, but it's just like, do we really need to start off the article like that?
It's like this extra layer of, like, biased emotion towards us and, like, hatred towards us. Like, you could have just said, for 6 months, the Toronto Blue Jays have been a very it's been a very hard team, right? It's been very tough, you know? It's like, okay, yeah, I feel that. But to call us baffling, it's like, F you, buddy. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, either way, he is a known Toronto Blue Jays hater. He has come out and said that they are making a very strong push, that people that are, privy to these Soto discussions are being told that the Toronto Blue Jays are making a very, very strong push. Now, he does go on to further say that there are some other teams that are better positioned than the Toronto Blue Jays, and what I think he's referring to there is, the fact that Guerrero's on a 1-year deal and Bichette's on a 1-year deal, and, we don't really know the future of this squad.
Right.
But I would push back on him there and be like, okay, well, if you sign Juan Soto, you do know what the future of the squad is, and it's that.
Yeah, for me, I totally get it. Like, we're not in a great position long-term to be competing, and maybe it is baffling to look at a Blue Jays team that continues to try to compete even though, the writing is all over the wall. But, I don't think necessarily what he's saying about our competitive structure of our team has anything to do with the fact that our highest offer is going to be the highest offer. Like, if we give him the highest offer, the most amount of money, Soto, as we know, will most likely go and take that offer.
Right.
It doesn't matter what team it is. And we've also had a report that the teams that are in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes right now, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Mets, and the Red Sox, and was the Dodgers. I feel like the Dodgers falling out at this point. All those teams were there because he actually is considering them. So he's considering the Toronto Blue Jays. They're not just there uninvited, like, hey, we're going to splash around some money. No, if he didn't want to go play for the Blue Jays, they would have stopped that conversation a long time ago.
That's the thing, we would have heard about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, in his brain, maybe there is like some minor underlying biases that he has, and maybe that favors us, maybe that doesn't. But everybody that's still in the mix is a serious suitor right now, right? And they are making a strong push. So even the Toronto Blue Jays haters out there like Ken Rosenthal and, some of the other MLB insiders and stuff like that, you're going to need to get over that, because the Toronto Blue Jays are just as there as, America's, New York Yankees or, like Steve Cohen's New York, all that shit. We are just as there as anyone.
We are, man. And I maybe it's the Canadian bias, and then I'm like, wow, why do I feel like everything's against us? But it really is, especially when you hear things like this coming out. Mark Feinstein came out with an article, I think it was a couple days ago, and it was just him and a bunch of other reporters sitting around talking about the Juan Soto sweepstakes and talking about other teams. And the first thing that comes up, because it is getting a lot of traction, is like the Toronto Blue Jays. And they had really nothing good to say about the Toronto Blue Jays.
There was like, what, 4 or 5 of them or something like that?
4 or 5 of them.
And effectively, like, this article, what's the title? Soto favorites have emerged and rumors are flying. Let's discuss.
Right.
No, it's Soto favorites have emerged and rumors are flying. Let's shit on the Toronto Blue Jays. That's really what it should have been called here. And they go on to just talk about how, it's not a desirable market.
Yeah,
and
right here.
Yeah,
let's face it, they're not a desirable market to play in as others on this list.
Get out of here.
What are you talking about?
Get out of here.
Give me a reason.
It's just because it's Canada.
It's
that's
because
the only
it's Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
right.
Have you ever stepped foot into Toronto? Like, anybody who comes here will tell you what a great city.
Exactly.
What a great, fan base. What a great country. Like, I just hate the outside looking in, like, oh, like, it's not the New York, it's not the Boston, it's not the LA. Like, come on, man, like, get over yourself.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. And they just go on to keep doing that. So we wanted to give that just a little bit of light, excuse me. And I guess just, at Mark Feinsand right here and say, dude, not appreciated. You're going to need to get over whatever it is that you and your buddies, have against Canada and have against Toronto.
It's reports like this where I'm like, you know what? If Juan Soto were to sign to the Jays, like,
I'm shoving it in your face.
Shoving it all over.
I'm I'm going to be the most obnoxious. Like, I'm already an obnoxious fan, but I'm going to get real obnoxious.
Like, guys, last night I went out. We got 2 Prosecco bottles. We are going to pop it. I'm not saying it's going to be Juan Soto.
Here, let me
go grab them.
We'll put it in, and we'll put it in the set so you guys can see.
It's 2 celebratory Juan Soto bottles. We're gonna put a label on it. If anyone watches Trailer Park Boys, you know how Jim Leahy had his little, like, Randy and Ricky and Julian and all those kind of guys. Oh, not Randy, but Ricky and Julian bottles. We're gonna have Juan Soto and a Burns bottle right here. Soto Burns.
Corbin Burnes.
There we go. This is what we're doing all weekend, guys. We're going to be watching these. We're going to be watching these rumors, and making sure
Yes,
that we get these guys.
And we did see somebody in the chat asking, are you going to go live tonight? I'd really appreciate it to cover everything. And yes, we are, everybody. I'm not sure exactly when, but you can anticipate roughly 7 at night or something like that. We'll be live for a couple hours. Maybe we'll get some beers going. Hopefully we're popping some champagne. That would be real cool. We got Wheeler Talkery in here with a dono saying, good morning, boys. If we were to get the number 1 or 2 pick, could it alter the Blue Jays free agent and future trades? Great question. We are actually going to talk a little bit more about the Tankathon in a bit. So actually, I'm gonna pause your question and get back to it in a little bit, because we were going to talk about that draft a bit later. But because we have the Corbin Burnes bottle out right now, let's talk a little bit about Corbin Burnes. We brought him up just briefly on our last podcast. So if you haven't watch that, then go give it a listen. But the Toronto Blue Jays were meeting with him privately, and this was revealed yesterday. We don't know exactly when they met with him, but it was leaked yesterday that they were meeting with him privately. And we were discussing this, that Corbin Burnes wasn't even really a name on the radar.
No.
You were hearing about Max Fried, and, obviously we've been hearing about Juan Soto, but, again, like, that's the craziest of crazy long shots, and as much as I want to believe it, it's tough to fully buy in.
Right.
But we're hearing about Max Fried. Corbin Burnes is, arguably on another tier than even Max Fried. And I think that you can even make a strong argument that other than Juan Soto and other than Roki Sasaki, because he hasn't even played in the MLB yet, so we don't know, this is the most talented, just pound for pound player on the market.
Absolutely, right. And the reason why I wasn't even thinking about Corbin Burnes, because, like, our rotation is already still pretty good, but I was like, we don't need to go add a huge impact guy like a Corbin Burnes. That's not really a necessity. That's not where we're going to spend, $200 million, which is, like, honestly probably around, like, either high $100 million, could eclipse $200 million for Corbin Burnes.
I think,
right?
you know what, I'm gonna stop you there, and I'm even gonna challenge you to, I think it could get up to like 250, because you're talking about somebody. You're talking about somebody who is 30. Go back to his age. I think he's just 30 years old.
30 years old, yeah.
Yeah, just 30 years old. So, walking into the season, he's gonna be 30. And as a starting pitcher, like, I look at it a bit differently. When you're a hitter, I start to think that the fall off could happen, 33, 34 type thing. Somebody like a Corbin Burnes, like, we've seen some of these starters, especially guys of his caliber, go deep.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole is, I think, 34 right now, and still slinging that thing. So, I don't know, man. I could see Corbin Burnes getting like a 250 8-year deal or something.
I guess it depends all on the average annual value, because right now they have it at $30 million for 6 years, which is $180, right? So I guess, like, if he's 30 years old, I think a 6 or 7 year deal could be a very realistic possibility for someone like
deal,
Corbin Burnes. He's very healthy too. That's the thing. That's why there's not a lot of risk involved. That's why you're willing to give him that much years. Like, I mean, look at the last little bit, right? Very, very healthy. I think he missed, like, what is that, 5 starts in 2021. That's it.
The last 4 seasons. To have the worst year getting 167 innings pitched, like, you'll take that every single day to the bank.
Dude, and even won Cy Young when he when he didn't have a full season, right?
That's wild.
Shows you the amount of dominance that this guy really has. So if it gets up there like $35 million per year, which could be a very well possibility, like, for 6 years, now you're over that $200 million mark, right?
Yeah, because Blake Snell, what was his average annual value?
Oh gosh,
it was like 37 or something.
But it's all deferred. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's all deferred. It's like 37. Let me look it up right now. But, like, it's all deferred, so we don't really know. I don't really know.
I think it was like the math works out to be 37, but they're doing some funky shit that has it deferred.
36.4. I wish they would show. Oh, here it is. Deferred money. So yeah, like, it's technically. Is it more? I don't get it. Wait, so does this math work out where 36 times 5 is 182?
That would work out. Okay. But they're just, like, taking it and spreading it out, basically. But Dodgers. I mean, point being is that if that guy's going to get 36 and a half, I would argue that, Corbin Burnes could get not significantly more, but more than a Blake Snell.
Yeah, no, you're right. If he got like 38. But that's the thing. He's also going to get a longer deal, I think, than Blake Snell. So, like, that will kind of add on to it a little bit. Sure, longer, you have less AAV. We'll see how it all turns out. But going back to the Toronto Blue Jays, if the Blue Jays are seriously not going to get Juan Soto, then this is a great pivot. Because, again, like, when I was thinking about this rotation, I was like, oh, there's no way they're going to get, a Corbin Burnes. But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, we don't really maybe you could argue Kevin Gausman, but we don't really have a true a dominant number one ace. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm talking like Garrett Cole, the Garrett Cole type of level of pitcher, right? That is like, this is your clear number one ace. Gausman had a rocky season last year. He'd end up picking up at the end of the year, which is great. Jose Barrios isn't that level like Garrett Cole, number one ace. Very solid pitcher. Bassett, we'll see what happens. And then you got Bowden Francis. We'll see what happens with him. Like, I'm not going to say he's number one after like 2 great months of baseball.
No, I can't do that. That's unfair to him.
It's unfair, right? So, like, I really do think Corbin Burnes is a tier above Kevin Gausman, and then adding him pushes everybody down and makes our rotation like so much stronger.
Yeah, of course, right? Again, like, for all those Kevin Gausman lovers out there, like, there's no slight to him whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, if you go back to his baseball reference page, we're talking about somebody that's been, 6th, 7th, 8th in Cy Young.
Every year.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, he's always going to be there, right? He's going to be a top 5 pitcher in the American League whenever, right? Just like in the future. So it's going to happen. This is a really, really good player, and there's not a lot of guys like that where you can say year in and year out, not only are you fully healthy, but you are continuously producing at an extremely high level. There's very, very few players that can do that. So
and like looking at Kevin Gausman, like, again, amazing stretch he's had with the Toronto Blue Jays, but you can clearly see there is a tier difference with the Blue Jays, 345, where Corbin Burnes, like, over his career, is a 319. Like,
it's really, really
a bit of a difference.
And again, last year he was phenomenal too. He had a 2.92 ERA over a lot of innings pitched for those Baltimore Orioles. He was the clear number one for them. And also, a great thing about Corbin Burnes is you're stealing him away from Baltimore.
Yeah, or the Yankees too, which are in on him too.
Or the Yankees too, right?
Right?
But that is a lot of quality innings that would be leaving the Baltimore Orioles. And I look over at that team and I go, you don't have anybody that's close to this guy right now. That is a lot of quality innings leaving them, and then, potentially coming here.
And pitching against them. Which is amazing, right? And I'm thinking about rotations around the league. I think about the Yankees still have a good one, but I also think about, like, the Dodgers. They have a very solid rotation. If you add Corbin Burnes to the Toronto Blue Jays, you could argue the Blue Jays have one of the better rotations in all of baseball.
I'd say a top 3 one for sure.
Top 3 rotation. Like, that's your number. Like, imagine Kevin Gausman, Corbin Burnes, game 1 and 2. And then Jose Barrios, game 3.
Barrios there. You got Bassett in the mix too. You got Bowden Francis, and then you know what? If Alek Manoah wants to do anything, great.
And Yariel, go in the bullpen. And be a that's another thing. I brought this up probably like 18 times so far this offseason, but you sign a starting pitcher, immediately Yariel Rodriguez now becomes a bullpen guy. There's 3 innings every 2 days you can get out of the bullpen from Yariel Rodriguez. Maybe 3 days. Maybe I'm being a little bit too generous. But that's innings that you don't have right now currently in the bullpen. You solve a problem by getting a guy in your rotation.
Of course, yeah. I mean, like, having somebody that caliber that pushes everyone down, obviously you're going to get those 200 quality innings, but, it should theoretically give you other quality innings even when he's not on the field, right? Because people are in better positioned areas for them and their skill set. So, yeah, across the board, I love everything about this. Obviously, I do still think that the Toronto Blue Jays need some hitters, and I get where people are coming from when they say, well, why are we going after these starting pitchers? Like, we need offense. And we've been talking about it just, kind of loosely saying it's best player available.
That's it.
We're not a team that really can, beg or choose here. Like, Corbin Burnes is fucking phenomenal. If that guy wants to come here, then you get him.
Like, Corbin Burnes isn't going to hurt your team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you think of it this way, our offense sucks. We score 3.5 runs on average per game. How can we win with that? Maybe get a guy out here who doesn't give up 3 runs a game.
It actually has a 2.92 ERA.
Yeah, literally.
That would actually do it.
It would do it. Like, obviously, you got to go to the bullpen at some point, but, it doesn't hurt your team. Like
yes, of course. Right. I mean, point being, Corbin Burnes would be incredible, and if they do miss out on Juan Soto, then that is a great pivot guy. Yeah. Now, we kind of loosely talked about it, but I do want to bring up the report just to solidify it so you know that it's coming from a reputable source. Jeff Passan was saying 750 could be the number for Juan Soto.
Yes.
So everybody that is talking about how Toronto Blue Jays don't like to go out and spend money, if you're still in that camp, then maybe take a step back, because it's looking like it could be a lot for Juan Soto.
The Toronto Blue Jays are going to spend a lot of money, whatever way, very soon. Like, think about it, right? Like, we had $700 million for Shohei Ohtani last year that we didn't spend. Maybe they were planning for this offseason to make a big splash. Maybe they were thinking about that. That's why they went and got a Justin Turner and IKF. Maybe I'm giving too much credit.
Yeah, you're giving Ross Atkins a lot of credit
maybe
right
I'm
there,
giving him
man.
too much credit. But point being, whether he tried to or he didn't, there's a shitload of money still left over, and whether it goes to Juan Soto or goes to Corbin Burnes or it goes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., it's going to somebody soon. So that 750 mark is probably that's probably the limit, the hypothetical, because I brought this up a couple times yesterday, where if it's down between the Blue Jays and it's down between the New York Mets, what kind of offer does the Blue Jays need to make to beat the New York Mets? It's that offer right there.
Something like that, you know, and then
offer.
Also with opt-outs included as well.
Yeah.
And this is coming from Jeff Passan, and this is coming from Buster Olney, so you guys know that this is a reputable source talking about what this offer could be. There's been so much misinformation going on with the Juan Soto sweepstakes. It is very similar to what happened last year with Shohei Ohtani. So be very careful when you're on Twitter, you know, scrolling through and you're seeing some big catchy headline, and just, you know, check all the sources. I actually saw something today, and it's going around the internet. God only knows how accurate it is. Apparently, so you got Mendoza, Carlos Mendoza, who is the, you know, manager of the Mets, right?
Right.
Well, his son was on TikTok and responded to some, you know, baseball-related thing.
Right.
And in the comments, commented, you know, guys, trust me, the Met, you know, he's going to be a 15-year, $700 million guy. That the Mets have offered that, and now everybody's freaking out, being like, "Oh, like Carlos Mendoza's son revealed the like, God, like that's no. I mean, like maybe, but like that's a stretch,
guys. It's a child.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes.
I mean, you have literal grown adults online, like somebody like a Beyond Average Mick, just making shit up out here. You know, so it's like, look, no disrespect to, you know, Carlos Mendoza's son or whatever, but like, could we be stretching the truth, or could there be a bit of misinformation there? I'm sure it could be. I would not put any weight on that.
I think he's just a kid that's like, we're gonna do it.
Exactly.
Like it's awesome too. When I was a kid watching the Blue Jays, I thought like the 2013 team with Melky Cabrera and like Burley. I was like, dude, World Series bound.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like, I didn't know any better. I'm a kid,
right?
You know, like I don't know, so I wouldn't give that any.
And Nando coming out here and saying Carlos Mendoza's son is 30 and living in his dad's mansion basement. Who knows?
I thought he was a kid. I thought I saw him throwing a ball around.
I did as well, but this is the thing, right? Who knows? The internet has a lot of misinformation out there. It's impossible to say. That's why the only guys that I'm trusting this offseason, other than our good friend Beyond Average Mick, is Jeff Passan and Buster Olney, man, because those guys know what's up.
Yeah, exactly, right? And look, we also here on Blue Jays Say, we try to get you the right sources to look at, and which are the right credible people, right? Like, God, I mean, we did go on our little adventure of Beyond Average Mick, but I think that was more of a meme than anything.
It's just a meme, dude. And you know what's crazy, guys? So if you remember what we're referring to here, he's the guy that was on the, you know, Red Sox guy, comes out, he did get something right with the Boston Bruins, but he comes out a week ago and he's saying, yeah, like they're gonna get the deals in place, the agreements in place. He was saying that last weekend. Right. You know, it's Friday now. Yeah. Last weekend, he was saying that Soto's going to be in Boston. He's going to be at Fenway Park. They're going to be signing something. It's going to happen. That was a week ago. Yeah. You know, and he is still tweeting shit out today saying that not only is the deal in place and that Soto's coming to Boston, but they are getting more money to get another guy.
No, he's shooting all the shots. Like what? You're telling me that MLB Network, Jeff Passan, Buster Olney, Mark Feinsett, all these guys who have legitimate proven connections are all wrong?
And for a week they've been wrong?
And for a week.
I don't think so.
No, like your story's going over here. Every other story's going over here, dude. Like,
listen,
give up.
All the respect to you. You fired your bullet. It missed.
It missed, bro. Let's move on a little bit. That's all the kind of Juan Soto stuff. But, guys, we might be live later. Things will break. We could grab some beers, like Nick is saying. Hell, I hope we pop one of these bad boys.
That'd be incredible, man. I really do hope so. So stay tuned for that, guys. Should be around 7 or 7:30 this evening. Let's move on and talk a little bit about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and what he's doing.
Oh my God!
On social media.
Oh my God! How dare Vladdy? How dare he?
What are we doing, Guerrero? So this photo gets posted, right? It's a good edit.
It's a great edit.
You know,
I love it.
It's a really good edit. You got Devers in the middle.
Yeah.
You got Juan Soto on the right. And then you got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the left. And this is something that's going on. They're all in Boston Red Sox uniforms. This has been something that's going on in the Boston community, right? They're thinking to themselves, okay, well, we signed Soto this offseason.
Yeah.
And then, we can either trade for Guerrero or we can sign Guerrero next offseason, and we can have the trifecta of some of the best Dominican hitters in this generation.
Oh, yeah. And
right?
also, yeah, exactly, right? Like, I mean, damn, that would be super cool.
It would be fucking sick.
That would actually be sick. Imagine Vladdy at first, Devers at third, Juan out there. Maybe he's DHing at one point.
That would be, I would
nasty.
argue, the best 1-2-3 punch in the game.
That's the most exciting. That would be historic. You have documentaries about that.
You're winning World Series.
Dude, they're all young kids. Like, that's just so cool and exciting. And maybe Vladdy thought that was cool and exciting because he liked it. He liked the pose. What are you doing?
What a loser,
What
man.
are you doing, Vladdy?
What are we doing here?
What are you doing?
What are we doing?
Now, okay, a lot of people freaked out about this and were like, does this mean Vladdy's going to the Red Sox? I mean, let's put it from your perspective, okay? Let's take away that, like, you cared about, like, what people thought of you liked or didn't liked. If you saw a photo edit of probably two of your good friends.
That's the thing. Those are your homies right there.
Those are your friends, all bad together, a sick edit. Like, damn, representing Dominican flag in the background. You'd be like, that's pretty cool.
In another life, that would be cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's a thing.
And he probably didn't think twice. He went ding ding click.
Yeah.
Like Vladdy doesn't care. Like, he's made it very clear what his intentions are here with the Toronto Blue Jays. So, for a lot of people saying, like, oh, he's going to Boston, all the Boston Red Sox fans going crazy, being like, oh, we're getting Vladdy now. This is not what it means, bro.
No, dude. This is, bro, like, he's probably got, like, a fucking group chat with those boys,
Right.
And just, like, sent it in and was like, look at this, guys.
Yeah,
Like, wouldn't this be wild?
Wouldn't that be wild?
And they're like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. And then that's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a serious thing or anything like that. Listen, I already have a lot of contempt, towards Ross Atkins and the management. If you let Guerrero not only hit free agency, but then sign with the Boston Red Sox, I am actually getting the pitchforks and the torch. Like, we're leading the charge, and we're finding you. We are costing you. We're got to do something about this because that would be crazy.
Let me paint this picture, right? Like, if Juan Soto inevitably goes to the Mets, and you miss out, like Yankees miss out, Jays miss out, and Boston miss out. Guess who all have holes in their first base bag next year?
No.
All three of those teams.
Fuck.
It's going to be an AL East showdown next year.
Oh,
if you
God.
Vladdy.
That would just be...
Like,
listen, man, that would be so horrendous. And everyone would get on Guerrero, too, and they'd be like, no, like, we hate you now, like, if he decided to do that. I wouldn't feel that way at all. I would just be mad at the management for even allowing that situation to ever occur.
Vladdy leaving is not Vladdy's fault. It's 100% the management. How could you not get any more clear if you're Vladimir Guerrero Jr. about your intentions with playing with the Toronto Blue Jays this past season? It's up to the management to get it done, and they didn't. So I'd grab the pitchforks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to Ross Atkins.
We're actually rioting. We're rioting. It is a real thing.
Yeah, we actually have a great question by one of you guys that we're going to answer later for our mailbag about the upper management. So stay tuned for that. Also, guys, if you haven't already submitted your questions, go in the description down below. Click on the Google form to submit them. We're going to be answering them 3 in this live stream right here, and then a lot later on.
And
this
actually,
weekend.
this is a great opportunity to shout out the 222 people that are watching right now. Like we said, we're going to be live later this evening, kind of following along with all the news as it happens, taking some more of your questions. Should be a good Friday, kind of like a wine on wine stream from back in the day.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean? But if you haven't already done so, please hit the like button, subscribe to Blue Jays Today, folks. We're going to be keeping you up to date with everything. Before we get to the next piece of news, though, this might be a good opportunity to give a shout out to one of the sponsors of this video.
Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate, and guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway every day for being absolutely phenomenal. It is the spot. If you have any interest at all in sports betting, I apologize to anybody who lost money on the Green Bay Packers yesterday. I mean, if you took the spread, you hit on the spread. It was a very, very close game by two very, very good football teams.
Right.
They are very talented. They got the edge. I saw somebody in there earlier saying, "Hey Nick, go Pack, go! Tough loss." It was a tough.
Canning,
you just,
yeah.
dude. Honestly, like Dan Campbell's a fucking maniac, and like this guy,
The
like
balls.
you need to. That's the thing. You got to find a way. I'm almost happy that we lost in the sense because we're still going to be a playoff team, and now you have a month to figure out how to stop them on 4th down. You have to figure out how, because
you gotta get ball reduction surgery from Dan Campbell.
Well, but here's
ball
the thing:
reduction
if
surgery.
you actually, because they went on 4th down 5 times, we stopped them once. All right,
Yeah.
they hit it 4 to 5 times. If you actually stop them on 4th down, then they're done. Like it's a massive
you
swing.
stopped them on their own 30.
Yes, that's the thing. Like they're fucking insane.
Yeah.
You know, so that you got a month, Green Bay. Figure out how to do it. You're gonna have to play them again if you actually want to go deep in the postseason. But tell us about your Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, you guys know I love the Arizona Cardinals, and honestly, out of all the games this weekend, this is probably going to be the biggest impact game that comes to playoff standings, folks. Because if the Cardinals win, boom, they're right there tied with the Seahawks for the first place in the division yet again, and they got an easy schedule to go and get that lead. If they lose, it's pretty much Seahawks division to lose, and it's over. So big playoff game here. It's very tight. They are favoring the Cardinals because they are at home. I actually was looking at this over and over and over again. I don't like any of the spreads. I don't want to go for the Seahawks because they're not a consistent team. For me, honestly, if I were to go with any spread here, I probably would do Seahawks plus 2.5. That doesn't feel right either.
You almost need. You got to give them like an alternate something. Give them
It's
like
gotta be
10
an alternate.
points, and then it's something else. You know?
But honestly, guys, this is a tough game. It's one of those games where it's so close it could go either way. So if that's the case, if you believe in the Seahawks, like 2.25. That's a great multiplier. I don't even like them. I actually hate this. I don't even know. I just took it because it's my Cardinals. Do you have a bet on this?
Okay. Well, honestly, like forgetting all of the money and like all of the multipliers and everything like that, I do think that you're going to win. So if that's the case, and I do think that you're going to win,
we gotta score a bloody touchdown.
I would just bet on the Arizona Cardinals to win. So that's where I'm at right now, everybody. But if you guys are interested at all in sports betting, hop on to Betway. We got another donation in here coming from Ari Pie. $6.99. Shout out, thank you to you. Saying, my guess is Soto signed Sunday. Check Ben Turner and his reposts. He reposted something about what Heyman said on the Michael K show. We actually did, and we brought that up earlier, man. Actually, Ben Turner, thank you very much for consistently reposting stuff. That is really, really cool. Let's move on and talk just a little bit. Give our guy a tip of the cap right here to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Yes, we were just talking about how he liked some Boston Red Sox posts. But he also won the 2024 Tip O'Neill Award. Didn't even know what this was until, half an hour ago. But what? This is like outstanding Canadian play?
Outstanding Canadian baseball player.
Hell yeah, baby.
I mean, I can't really think of too many other Canadian baseball players that are better than Vladdy right now. So he won it. So hell yeah, congratulations, Vladdy. Just another reason to absolutely extend this man already. And I'm so sick and tired of waiting around for that. Conversation hasn't even begun, and I'm really sick and tired of not hearing it.
I'm kind of hoping that after Soto and after all the big guys leave, right, like Soto and Alonso and Burnes and all this shit, then we'll kind of there'll be a bit of a lull, and in that lull period, now we're hearing some more stuff about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his potential extension.
I really hope so.
All of that would be very, very good, man, because it's necessary, right? We keep saying it. It is necessary if you want to have any future for a winning culture or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Let's move on and talk a little bit about the.
I want to give this a shout out,
that's
guys.
fair. That's fair.
I want to give this a shout out. If we're talking about extending this man, we gotta pay this man, guys. We got a new shirt that just dropped, and it's just in time for the end of the Black Friday sale that literally ends today, guys. So go check it out in the description, nationgear.ca. We've got the Pay This Man t-shirts. You can get it in black, you can get it in white. You got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the front in a pile of cash. Give him the freaking Brinks truck, Ross Atkins, and pay this man. If you want to show your support for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension, go get the t-shirt for this holiday season. Get it to someone that you know wants the Rogers Communication Company to pay this man.
This man, seriously, dude, it is time, Ross. It is time.
Hey guys,
it's also coming close to shout out to Betway.
Shout out to Betway. There we go.
It's also coming close to the draft, the MLB draft, everybody, the MLB draft lottery, that's going to happen next Tuesday, so less than a week away. Willard Talkery asked earlier, if we get the number 1 or number 2 pick, could it alter the Blue Jays free agency and future trades? And the answer is absolutely yes. We have a 7.5% chance to get that number 1 overall selection. This is a big deal, right? This is a big deal and could seriously, help define the Toronto Blue Jays' future moving forward.
See, I actually would, I'm going to kind of push back a little bit. I don't think it actually alters a lot, because when you get a guy for number 1 overall pick, if it is let's say an Ethan Holiday, that's a high schooler, right? And we don't know how long he's going to develop. I think you continue about your business until you get to see what he's like in your organization. So actually, I'll push back a bit. I don't think anything changes if we get it or not.
Well, maybe, unless you draft the other guy who's a college player,
right.
And then, now that's part of the window. Because let me ask you, right? If you draft that guy, then I'm not saying that it would necessarily change the way that you handle your Guerrero business or anything like that. But is that more incentive to extend Guerrero?
Again, not really. Again, you got to see what he does at minor league level, right? When you draft a guy, they could be complete busts. You got to see what they do. I don't think you make a big decision on the major league level until you actually get this guy playing at a major league level. You know what I mean? You got to wait a little. I don't think that really changes anything, to be honest, unless it's 3 or 4 years down the line and it's okay, we have this guy coming up, so let's save a roster spot for him. Right now, I don't think it changes anything.
All right. Well, there you have it. I mean, I don't think it changes anything then. But we do have a 7.5% chance to get that number 1 overall selection regardless. I think it does change the future of this team, and I think we can both agree about that.
Has a little excitement, increases our, our prospect system.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, getting somebody of that caliber would be pretty important. So that's going to happen on Tuesday, everybody. We'll be live for that lottery, watching along, hoping that they hit on that chance.
Yeah, I got to hope so. 7.5%, guys. Like Nick said, this Tuesday we're going to get it. Let's do a little sim, eh? Why don't we see if we were to spin it right now, would we get the number 1 overall pick? Let's see. Wow,
no.
that would be the worst thing ever.
That would be the worst possible outcome. We have got to pray to God that does not happen, because that is extremely unlucky right there. So that's why we have to be live for it, and that's why we got to watch along, guys. So hopefully an outcome like that doesn't happen. And if it does, then we can all be in pain and misery together.
That's right, guys. All right, I think that's about everything we've got going on right now, other than, again, another shout out to Buster Olney saying, hey, Blue Jays reek of desperation, and they're going to do something big.
And we already knew all of that.
Already knew it, guys. So
let's go answer some of your questions in that mailbag. We were asking you guys to submit it, and all of you have done a great job at doing so. If you haven't already done so, then please submit to our mailbag down below. Like we said, we're going to be live later this evening and certainly answering a decent chunk of these questions while we wait for some news to break. But we got a good one in here from Brady asking, how is Soto a possibility for the Jays if we are spending the same amount as last year?
Good question.
That is a great question. And my answer to you is, Brady, don't listen to anything that Ross Atkins has to say, because it's just a bunch of bullshit. He says a lot of weird stuff. He has said that we're set, him and Mark Bauer both come out and said, the budget isn't changing a whole lot from last year. But obviously, if they go out and get one, that's your whole budget.
Yeah.
Right? So it is. We're serious. We're in the conversation. I think it's the same kind of deal as what happened last year, which is this is a special player. This is a unique situation.
Right.
And, what is the typical budget? Well, it's different for Juan Soto.
Yeah, the budget, same to last year, doesn't include Juan Soto and maybe some of these bigger guys, right? Maybe if you go get a Corbin Burnes, that is going to cost you, what? $38 million per year. Your budget probably changes a little bit right there, because hey, now we actually might have a chance to win, right? So yeah, I wouldn't listen to a lot that they say. I mean, frick, if you saw our last Blue Jays Today show, we were pulling Ross Atkins quotes out there. I think it was one of the weekly podcasts. We're pulling Ross Atkins quotes, and it's all a bunch of garbage. It doesn't make any sense.
Right? I don't know. I don't know why he says that. Oh, actually, no. I do think I know why he says that. Now that I'm thinking about it, he says that to try to keep our expectations low, right?
Yeah,
he
that's
says
right.
that to try to keep our expectations low, because if we do have an offseason where we get this year's version of IKF and this year's version of Justin Turner and, what have you, well, he said it. right?
Yeah.
He said it at the end of year press conferences, so we can't complain that much because, well, he just followed through with what he said. So he's literally setting the bar as low as possible. So then if we do anything more than that, we're like, oh, Ross Atkins, like you sly dog, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Oh, well, he's back. He saved the organization, right?
He's just trying to manipulate us, honestly.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's that question. Thank you, Brady. And Brady, I saw you got a lot more questions. So if you're in the chat, thank you for all your questions. Guys, again, submit your questions in the mailbox down below. Google form. Go fill it out. Very easy. We'll get to them on the live stream later. We got another question right here from Jack Offman. That's funny. Nice. I see what you did there, Jack. If that is your real name. The question is, are you concerned that if the Blue Jays miss out on Soto, they might not have a backup plan like last year? And that's another good question because that's another concern a lot of fans have right now.
Yeah, and I think it's super valid, right? Like I am concerned. I guess like holding out hope that with all of the other rumors surrounding Max Fried and now surrounding Corbin Burnes and Teo and what have you, that isn't going to be the case, and I'm thinking that we learned our lesson from last year. But that's still that doesn't mean that we're going to get them, right? Like there's still the possibility that the Toronto Blue Jays could be in on everybody, and they just never cross the finish line because we are a 74-win team. And we are a squad that doesn't have their star player extended for a long period of time. And we are in a different country. So there's a lot of things that are going against us right here. And even if you miss out on Soto, are your backup plans going to hit? If your backup plan's Corbin Burnes, that's still a really tough backup plan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that are going to want Corbin Burnes.
Yep.
And similarly to Max Fried. So, yes, I am definitely concerned. However, I think that they're doing their best to put the backup plan at least in place this year.
Yeah, like they learned their lesson from last year, and I will say the difference between this free agent class and last one, I do think this one's a lot deeper, where there are lots of guys to go around, right? Where last year, I could really only, other than Shohei Ohtani, it was like Bellinger, Camilaro, Teoscar Hernandez, like
who the hell else
all it really was.
There,
like I have someone else name a name in the chat, but there wasn't really a whole lot of guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about
who was there?
There wasn't
a lot. Whereas this year, you've got the Alex Bregmans, you've got the Pete Alonso, the Willie Adames, you've got the Teoscar Hernandez, the Santanders. That's 5 position players, and you have 5 big market teams on Soto. One of them will go to one of those places.
Yeah.
And then the pitchers, you got Fried, Snell, who already went to the Dodgers, Burnes, Roki Sasaki,
Flaherty.
Yeah. Like, there's so many guys that can go other places.
There's quality players on both sides of the baseball, which I guess, I think that instills me with a bit more confidence, where it's like, okay, well, now we already know, well, the Dodgers are out on pitchers.
Exactly.
Right? So, at the very least, man.
You never know
with those guys, but, they shouldn't be in the Corbin Burnes sweepstakes, which is good, right? That's one team that, ultimately would have beaten you if they were in the Corbin Burnes sweepstakes. So, yes, I'm concerned, but what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do?
You just got to hold out hope.
But, basically to answer, I'm not as concerned. Not as concerned as last year that we're not gonna have a backup plan, right?
Wouldn't it just be the fucking worst if we get we're heading into the new year, it's early January, and we're still sitting here, doing we're going live for our free agent watch, except now instead of Juan Soto on the thumbnail, it's like I don't even know.
It's Gleyber Torres.
It's Gleyber Torres.
Oh, watch.
It's like live Gleyber Torres watch.
Play tracker.
He's coming. We haven't got anyone yet. All the other guys are off the board.
God, man, there would be a hole in my bedroom wall, punching the wall. Man.
That can't happen again, man. It cannot be anything like that. Quick shout out here to Bone with the $6.99 dono saying, here's a couple bucks towards a mic holder. Please get one. You know what? I'll tell you what. Tonight's stream, we will get one. Ultimately, what needs to happen is we just need to get a better computer, so then we don't need to do this anymore, and we can go back to using the lavalier mics, which I love.
Although, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the lavs, or do you like these? Because the quality on these ones are so much better.
The quality is better, but I do love the lavalier.
Honestly, maybe because you're holding it, I haven't really noticed it because I'm freeform right now.
Yeah, I guess for me, because I have to hold the goddamn thing every second.
Maybe you'll start to like it once you get the arm in there tonight. But we got one more question. Thank you for the dono again, Bone. We got one more question coming in for Craig, and I had a chuckle when I was reading this off the spreadsheet because I feel you, Craig. Shapiro and Atkins are epic failures. Not even a question to start, just a statement.
Yeah.
Actually, not even a statement, a fact.
Yeah.
Shapiro acts as if he actually performed the renovations on the Rogers Center.
That's actually such a good. That's
funny.
such a good mental image and a good point too. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like this guy's literally like in there slaving away, like like hammer and iron and like
Bro, okay,
literally welding it all together himself.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say the source that I've heard of talk about this, but someone was at the opening of like the behind the scenes opening of like the renovations, like the tour that Mark Shapiro was putting on, and Mark Shapiro was like selling the crap out of it. Like, we did this, we did that. This is going to be the hottest place in all of Toronto, and from the source they were just like laughing, like, oh, you did nothing. You know,
Dude,
this is going to be crap.
Man, maybe this is a hot take or I don't know, but like they're not even that good.
It looks like a cheap like Walmart version of like the stuff downtown. Like,
it kind of reminds me a bit of like IKEA or something.
Yeah, like an IKEA bar.
Yeah, it's better than it was, but like it's not all that. You know what I mean? Like they literally sold it like this is like the coolest shit. Like, you know that like for those football fans out there, if you've ever seen the football stadium that the LA Rams have. Like,
that's cool.
It's like the most beautiful like structure. Like it's like it's perfectly seamless. It's like it doesn't even, you don't even know what's inside or outside. It's just this beautiful structure of everything.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to sell it to us like it was that.
Yeah.
Or like this incredible like Saudi Arabian like.
Yeah.
It's
terrible.
not, man. It's not.
Okay. So we'll get to Craig's question in a bit, but I got a couple like notes of the outfield level. Okay, so the Park Social, like. Dude, you have all this like beautiful like imagery, but the chairs are like 2 cents. They're plastic. They're like, I feel like I'm gonna fall out of them. Dude, the beanbag, what's it called? A cornhole?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a flimsy thing you get from the dollar store.
No, it literally looks like that.
What the fuck?
Like, why are the accessories like the cheapest
Garbage.
shit? Like, I get that you don't want people like breaking them or anything, but that's the thing.
All you got.
Like,
and then like even Corona rooftop, like the seating makes no effing sense. Like there's a TV on like a few of the walls, but there's a couch that is against the wall facing this way that's like built in, and it's like I can't even watch the games like here.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. It's just all. Anyways, the renovations suck. Going back to Craig's question, you reminded. Thank you, Craig. So he pretended like he built the Rogers Center, blah blah blah, did all the renovations. They inherited a great Anthopoulos team and then tanked it. They have not won a single playoff game in their new era. If they don't sign Soto or a combination of Frieder, Burns, and Bregman and Santander,
love that.
Should they be fired before the season? And it doesn't show here, but he capitalized before in the spreadsheet.
Okay,
so.
Yeah.
Do you think they should be fired if they don't get the guy?
Well, like I sound like a broken record here. Like it's very cyclical covering the Toronto Blue Jays, right? Like after we go through this free agent period, unless they do that, we will be at that point in time of the year where we're all calling for Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro. And this happens after the season, usually around the trade deadline, and then just before the season typically. And we've been doing that for years now.
Right.
We should have fired these guys a long time ago.
We should have fired them at least
seriously
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It should have been a couple months ago.
I don't understand how. You remember how during the season, like we were talking about how when we cared, when we thought that we might be in the race, well, John Schneider must be fired, right?
Yeah.
Or, Ross Atkins must be fired. And then it just kept going and nothing happened. And we all just like kind of forgot or just was like, oh, well, I guess this is just what it is. Like we're a 74-win team and that's okay. But it's not, right?
No.
Like why are we okay with them not even selling us mediocrity, but selling us garbage, right? It shouldn't be okay.
I'm so tired, and it depends on when or who we get this offseason.
Yeah, you get Juan Soto, you're forgiven.
Yeah, you're forgiven, right? And then you could actually sell me on Juan Soto. But if they get garbage again, and I'm gonna hate all the advertisements that are like, "Wow, Gleyber Torres, like our new acquisition," and they're like, and now it's like hashtag the future, and it's like I'm gonna literally jump off a bridge, like actually, like I don't want that to happen.
No,
to answer your question, Craig, they should have been fired. Yes. And will it happen? A little additional question maybe I'm adding in here. No,
it won't.
It's not gonna happen.
That's the thing, right? If you were gonna fire them, then you would have done it. You would have already done it, and you wouldn't have let them then run this off season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would have had somebody else in here to handle those meetings. Which now I'm thinking about it too. Like that in itself is its own selling point, right? Had we gotten a new guy in there, then you could have sold to Juan Soto and you could have sold to others and been like, this is our new vision.
Yeah.
And maybe they might have believed it, right? But I just find it hard to understand how anybody could sit there and listen to what it is that Ross Atkins has to say to them.
I can't even listen to this guy talk for like 5 minutes without
can you imagine,
slamming my head
Can you
into
imagine
the
like,
desk.
sitting in a meeting for 3 hours with this guy, him talking about the potential and the opportunities and all the good things that we're doing here, and then Mark Shapiro out there being like, have you seen the cup holders? They're great.
I know, like
it would have been so much.
There's a players clubhouse and everything, like you can sell them, and like I just literally want to slam my head into a brick wall.
Shout out quickly to Willard Talker here with another dono saying, if Soto signs, we might go over the luxury tax. If we sign other than him, are we going to deliver a competitive team then? Burns, Santander, then who? I mean, dude, like we're going down. You're going down a rabbit hole at that point. Like one step at a time. Yes, we're going to go over the luxury tax if we sign Juan Soto. I find it very difficult not to when you get a guy that's $50 million a year. But I think that's just one of those things that you have to do.
Yeah.
If they can get Soto and also Corbin Burnes, which would be insane, then I certainly think we got a better chance of being competitive than we were last year. But again, we are talking about a 74-win ball club here.
Yeah.
We need a lot of things to go right for us, regardless of who they get.
I think I kind of see where he's going with this. Where like if we go get Juan Soto, are we going to continue to spend over the luxury tax? And I think like yes, like we will do that because like you go get Juan Soto, you're right. Like that adds 8 wins, maybe both healthy. You add 10 wins. Like okay, now we're at 84 wins. We have no bullpen.
Still not a playoff team.
Still not in the playoffs, right? So like yeah, I think they do go and deliver and get more guys. You also got to remember like. They only have to be over the luxury tax for the next 2 years, and then they're back under, right? Or like hell, it could be even next year they get back under, depending on who they get this offseason. But that's it. So that they went under this past offseason to get back under because they didn't want to have to deal with all those penalties like accumulating after year after year. Now they don't have to be over it for 2 years, so it kind of gives them the freedom to go over it like a lot. So
yeah, exactly. So if they get Soto, the goal should be to continue spending. But, folks, that is going to be the Blue Jays Today show. We're going to be live, like we said, later this evening, probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. So stay tuned, everybody. Hopefully some more news or some more rumors comes out in the meantime. We can really dive deep into what people are saying on the hot stove right before the weekend of what should be the Juan Soto decision.
Absolutely, guys. And if you haven't already, submit your questions in that mailbag down below. We'll get to those questions tonight. Just submit as much as you want and do some fun ones, too. Doesn't all have to be baseball related. You can have some fun with it. Maybe some funky Blue Jay question ones. We'll answer them on the live stream.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please hit that like, smash the subscribe button. And as always,
go Jays, go!